I wish I could.
Welcome back to the Can-Am Connection, guys. It's a little old school here. Maybe we're losing our hosts, our co-hosts. I don't know.
Well, you got the OGs of the show, so it's all right.
That's right. And I apologize for my voice. I'm struggling a little bit, Jody.
It's gonna be okay. You'll pass through this. You'll pass through this.
Got a bit of a head cold. I canceled practice tonight because of it, because I don't have no energy at all.
What are you drinking? Tea?
Coffee.
I
should be drinking tea.
Same here. Gotta have my coffee.
Well, let's get into it, man.
It was a wild weekend, wasn't it?
It was quite the weekend. First of all, congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I wish it was against Mega Mike, but of course, all you guys know he had to drop out due to an injury. And Paul Stevens, last minute, took the match. So stand-up guy he is. And Paul and I go way back, No disrespect. I thought I was going to win 3-0, but when I went up 2-0, it was best of 5. When I went up 2-0, I wanted to try a few things, and it kind of bit me in the backside. And it's nothing that it was. I tried something I never tried before, like on the spur of the moment. I should learn my lesson not to be doing that kind of stuff. But I tried some new stuff off the, like I said, spur of the moment. Didn't work out, so then it became 2-2, and it's like, okay, no more playing around. Let's go ahead and finish this thing. And so I finished it, got the win, 1-3-2. But Paul is a seriously strong guy. Do not sleep on that guy.
Yeah. Well, I watched your match and I enjoyed it.
My arm is still sore.
I enjoyed it every bit as every match on KOTT.
Did you see the long match I had with Carl Gerke?
I saw a couple other matches you posted, but I'm not sure if I saw that one.
It's still burning. Like, not that I was trying to King's move, but when someone starts like this and you kind of catch it out here, you kind of already stretched out. So you got to kind of go with it. But, yeah, it wore me out, Jake Lee calls me Carl Jerky. Yeah.
Let's get into it, buddy. What do you got? We got match lists. Let's go from the top.
Now, I don't know what order this was in, but I just wrote it down as we spoke about it last week. So,
yeah.
So we had Corey West and Jablonski, who ended up pulling 2 matches. So kudos to him. But
yeah, we didn't do predictions on the match that got announced because it happened after our show. It was already done.
No, not that one. But we did predict the Corey West and Jablonski match, and Paul Talia was on the show last week, and he actually chimed in on this. So Paul and I picked Corey West, and you picked Camille Jablonski.
Yep.
So tell us, 01, because I was not even – I know Tim had the event on his phone during, our event, but I didn't get to see any highlights really.
Well, Camille had he won 3 matches to 1. Or 4 matches to 1, I guess it would be, because of the 6-round format.
Right.
And they didn't pull the last one. Camille just was too much with the press. There was at one point that Corey got a good hit and pinned him, and that was a surprise. It was match 4, and we thought maybe we're looking at a comeback here. But Camille does that all the time. He'll get up ahead of people, kind of like you did, and he'll mess around a little bit, regardless of the level of match he's in. Then Corey came over and got a win, and then Camille just put him away in the next round.
I know you're feeling bad. Your voice is out of commission pretty much, and I might lean on you to do a lot of talking, but what are your thoughts on when you have a 6-round match, right? But you only do the 4 and call it good. You don't complete the 6th round. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like the 6th round. I think just call it best of 7. If it's optional, and what's the point? You know what I mean? If the match is won, who cares what happens in the next 2 matches? I don't get it, especially when it's completely optional.
Well,
exactly. Can just say, no, I don't want to do it. You essentially are watching, if somebody goes up 4-0, The next two matches are essentially practice table matches. They don't mean anything.
Now, here's the thing, because I get that. And then I don't have the numbers. I would love to hear the numbers on this. What are the percentages that once someone gets 4 wins? Because technically, instead of saying 6-round match, call it what it is. Hey, it's a race to 4.
Yeah.
The first of 4 wins, right? Because how often do we finish the other matches? I know there were times where when John pulled Vovoda and John got the 4th win, they kept going just to see what happens, you know. There was another match like that. It just kept going. And I'm like going, okay, is it necessary? I tell you what, though, if by chance Levon gets into one of those situations where he gets 4 wins, he continues to go, and someone pins him, they will all be talking about that rather than him winning. Guaranteed.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Imagine, if you will, Levon gasses himself out, wins 4 matches in a row, and then somebody comes back and wins 2 matches on him. Well, you could say that, you know, it was close, but maybe it's not.
And if you're the guy that won, I remember, was it King of the Table 2? And we talked about this. And Sarah Bachman pulled Gabby.
Yeah.
And Gabby got her 4th. She was like, okay, you know. And you could tell Sarah was starting to make that turn. She started to turn the corner and make that comeback. And all of a sudden, Gabby's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, you know. And had it been best of 11, we all speculated, you know, Sarah might have come back and won the match.
There is a strategic strategy in this stuff, because if it's 6 rounds, you have more wiggle room. Whereas if it's best of 5, you got to be precise and dead on. And hell, if you're talking super matches back in the UAL days, it was best of 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just don't understand it. The other gripe I have, okay, and here's the thing, that this is across all promotions.
Okay.
Nobody gets this right on pay-per-view, whether it's Global Elite, whether it's Knuckles Up, whether it's East versus West, whether it's King of the Table. Nobody has ever done this flawlessly. And that is those stupid lights that indicate the fouls.
Oh, yeah.
As the match goes on. They never get that dialed in, ever. Part of it is communication between the referees and whoever is working those things. Some of it will be the differentiating between a foul and a warning, which maybe we should do away with warnings completely if we're going to have a 3-foul system.
You should.
Those red lights for the fouls are never they're rarely correct, and they should be either done away with or change the system to make it. Yeah, Jason says mostly due to lack of communication.
Perfect.
I get that, and you know, especially in particular at the King of the Table event, the commentators were giving the refs some trouble for not saying loud enough that there was a running foul. Like, the competitors didn't know.
Are they still doing like, hey, we got elbow foul here, you got, or, you know, hey, you got a false start, so you have a warning, are they still doing that? Because when you do that and everybody's watching, you can kind of keep up, you know what I mean?
They were, in the first few matches, they were very poor at calling really loudly that there was a running foul. And often it was a surprise to the competitors, because from a strategic standpoint, the commentators are pointing this out. If you know you're on a runner and you know you're not going to, like, you could essentially just, or if your opponent's on a runner and you're in a bad spot, you could give up the match and get a restart.
Yep.
So there's some strategy that goes into these things. Now, they got better as the day went on, because the commentary team, and I'll give lots of credit to Coach Ray for this, talking to them, saying, you need to call this louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a big place where they have it at. It can, you know, like when you do East versus West, it's like a big giant, it looks like a big, giant, huge auditorium. Seats a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But King of the Table is just like, it's not that big. So you would think that one can hear. But, you know, I'm not there, so I don't really know for sure. So, but yeah, I agree. I come from the World Series of Arm Wrestling. WAS was a 3-file system. Forget the warnings, just 3 files. So it's like, okay, cool. As long as you know that, you could probably get away with something here and there, but just know a false start is actually a foul. As long as you understand that, you should know.
Do you know what happens in the Olympics or like even track and field meets when there's a 100-yard dash and somebody fast starts?
I forgot.
They are disqualified from the whole thing.
Wow.
If they take off before the gun, they are out completely.
Well, and I know we're kind of, you know, going off base, but I think if, you know, the referees just keep it tight, then a lot of this nonsense wouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, what's the warning? And how many times, I'm not getting on Bart Wood, but he's just the first one that comes to mind. And they're like this, and all of a sudden someone moves and, okay. And he does this again. It's like going, call it. Because I guarantee you, we all got in this sport, we listen to the referees. If the ref says don't move, don't move. Because if you do, you will get a foul, which means now, you know, how many false starts are you given before actually match starts?
Yeah. We're talking rules now, and we'll get into this as we go through the rest of it. But
my bad.
3 fouls, get rid of warnings, and call it tighter.
Yes.
Those things will improve. And arguably what Sanka here says is that running fouls confuse people. Keeping it simple is better. Simple is better for the pay-per-view model. I agree with that completely. Because it's tough. Like the commentators don't know what's going on, so they can't explain it to the public because the referee hasn't called it properly. Now, as we go through these, you'll see that if you let guys away with a little bit, right? Only call warnings in that referee script, and then all of a sudden we have guys getting away with more and more, so they're trying to take more and more. So moving in a referee's grip, like that should be the cardinal sin. That's what will get you fouled out. And if you're doing a long super match where you have to basically win 4, it's not that big of a deal for someone to lose on a foul.
Now, Sanka brought up a good point. Sanka says, yeah, but pay-per-views aim to entertain sports fans, so you can't be too strict. They just need to follow the KISS principle, keep it simple. That's just it. If you move in a ref grip, that's a foul. And I understand nobody wants to see people fouled out, but fuck, if you just knock it off and be still, you know, the matches will be a lot cleaner, I think.
Yeah.
When you allow that stuff, then now you got these freaking, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 minute setups because the refs aren't fucking calling it because they want to make sure that we want to see the match. Well, tell the pullers to knock it off.
Anytime you allow human perception to come into it, it's going to be inconsistent. So if a little bobble of an elbow to one ref is okay and to another that was a little too much, how do you argue which one is right?
Oh, best comment ever.
Which one? The most recent one here? This one?
Yes. Unfortunately, the whole loose rules for entertainment opens Pandora's box. That is the perfect statement for what we're talking about. And I know we've been on this. Basically, this is Corey West's match, and I kind of took it somewhere else. So I apologize for that, people. So,
well, you know what? And this wasn't even really an issue. The issue with this match with Corey and Camille, the issue with this one is no fault of either competitor. It's that the running fouls weren't being communicated effectively. Not that it would impact the outcome of the match, but this is kind of a match that highlighted that. Mm-hmm. And if guys knew they were on a runner, the other guy might let it go, you know?
Yeah. We can go to the next match. I mean, again, guys, this is probably not in the same order, but I do think that Odd's match was second, right?
Something like that, yeah. And that was a domination, but
Odd and Larry versus Korean Hulk.
Yeah. I think I picked Korean Hulk and you guys picked Auden.
Yes, and we did that because I thought for Auden to win, and like I said, guys, I didn't see the match because I was at my own tournament. I thought if Auden was going to win, do not go toe-to-toe with this guy strength-wise. You would have to bleed him out. You would have to be super duper technical. I don't know if that was the case. So Ryan, fill me in, fill us in.
Auden was all over this guy. Like he looked like a novice, to be honest.
Korean Hulk did?
Yeah. Auden just took advantage of his leverages and took him to school. And
that's being a smart puller, though.
Hey?
That's being a smart puller.
Yeah. There was a lot of shenanigans leading up to the starts. Like those referees, and no fault of Auden's whatsoever, because his job is to do, like, take advantage of what he gets away with. It's up to the referees to stop it. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of, like, before the go, lots of cranking the wrist in, lots of cupping.
Right.
And then just top rolled the shit out of that guy.
But why are the refs doing that? And Legia said I keep butchering. Is it Legia? I am so sorry, because you've been a very, very, noble participant in our shows, and I'm trying to make sure I say the name right. I've yet to watch an Auden match, and my thing is this: I'm not saying that he's pulling nobodies, but I understand what they're doing. They're kind of like, let's build some momentum to where, then you hear freaking Bowen. Bowen's in the house.
I like it, man. I like that match.
Yes. Because then now you're going to have to legitimately, like, up your game. And I'm hoping, and this may sound bad, I'm hoping that if that match does happen, Devin stay out of it. Because I got this gut feeling that what's going to happen is that anytime you pull Auden, Devin's going to be looming and, doing his mind stuff, and then it's going to mess with his opponent, and I can just sit there and coast. Bowen's too smart for that, but I just got a feeling that might happen. I don't know. Whether it be you lock up and all of a sudden you got someone yelling elbow, which we ain't fucking got to that.
We haven't even started the match yet, and we're yelling elbow.
Right.
Which
is annoying. I'm sorry. Call me a hater, but no one wants to hear elbow 27 times. I'm like, dude, no one's even started the match yet.
Yeah. I don't think it was ever. I mean, I think Devin and Jody could have went and had a nap, and Auden would have still won this match. It was not close.
Do you think they're protecting? Is it a protection thing?
What's that, Jody?
You think it's a protection thing where, like, I'm going to protect my son at all costs and make sure we, as parents, fans, whatever, put him in the best situation where he can win, where we take whatever he's doing, take off of him and focus on his opponent. Oh yeah, watch the elbow as he sits there and does this little stuff.
Are you talking about
wrestling calling it?
Are you talking about in the matchmaking, or are you talking about during the actual match?
During the actual match.
I think it's just a coaching thing, and they're very intense when they do it.
Yeah.
I don't fault. Is it over the top? Yeah. Do I like it? Not really, but I don't fault them for it.
Right.
If they, I've seen them do it for other pullers too.
All right. Nugo, RVJ.
Nugo, super intensity. RVJ, negative intensity. Looked like he found a cure for insomnia before he came out to the match.
So what was going on? Was he just like lethargic or what?
Man. There's just no fire. Like, I watched him come out to a Global Elite, and he had the fire. He had the intensity. Watched him come out at King of the Table, and it just looked tired, man. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I thought Rob did not I thought he could have done better than he did.
Right. And I'm sure, he even had like a post video saying, hey, you know what? I'm not so much shit to bed, but kind of like, hey, I'll take my loss like a man, and I'll go ahead and learn from it and come back, mentally stronger, or something along the lines of that. But I picked, me and Paul picked Nugo. You picked Mr. RVJ.
Of course. Yeah. And I don't think I got all of RVJ showing up. And, I consider him a friend. And I just wish, I hope he gets the mental game dialed in. But sometimes you just don't have it.
Well, I mean, as much as we like, and I don't want to say we like talk crap on him, but you said, when you talk to him at Global Elite, that he does watch the show. And I'm like, dude, we're not capping on you, man. But when you come up with that kind of performance, it's like, okay, you're like, hey, we just see things for what they are. The tape don't lie. I just picked out, Nugo because I thought, okay, when you got somebody well rested and you take RVJ, sometimes he can go like this. He knows it. We all see it. So you can't get mad at people who say that, RVJ. You can't get mad at us when we sit there and just basically talk about you doing this because everybody sees it. Okay. But I also thought that was there enough time to rest or train in between events when you had Global Elite and you had this one. That was my thing,
Well, that's hard to say, really. I mean, only Rob knows the answer to that, and maybe he doesn't even know the answer to that.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, someone said stop having RVJs on PV into pay-per-views until he actually gives a shit. So
I don't agree with that. I mean, sometimes you just need to be more careful with the matchmaking.
Well, I mean, on paper, a lot of it seems good until it happens. How many times have you seen a card and it was like, oh man, this is going to be good. And all of a sudden, it's a bunch of 3-0 sweeps. It just happens. You don't know until you know.
Well,
so
whatever you say about Rob's match, there's a match coming up that was way more one-sided than this one.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that at the end.
Yes. Okay, going forward. All right. Kalinchenko versus Georgie. I picked Georgie. Paul picked Georgie. You picked Kalinchenko, right?
You could kind of tell after match number one, like Kalinchenko really was not too far off.
No.
Like it was a good match. Like Georgie had to work, but he was just getting this little advantages and positions that would pay off as the match went on. It was a good opportunity to see where Kalinchenko's at. And I think he's right up there. Like, I think he's maybe one or two spots below Georgie. But he's not far. Like, he's definitely an elite super heavyweight, and we'll see him do a lot of stuff in the future.
Right.
He's got a good personality. He makes good videos. He's got a good look. He's a marketable guy for, one of the guys from the East.
Yeah, and for some reason, I didn't mind their press conference banter.
He talked some shit. So I mean,
he did. He was like going, and Georgie's like, okay, we'll see. Kind of like, okay, all right, yeah, we'll see. I didn't mind that. Because Kalinchenko seemed very confident, and for all intents and purposes,
Yeah. Oh man.
How about
it was a good match.
What's that?
It was one of the better matches of the card.
Yeah. We got Casper versus Caristo.
Now I got that one right.
You did.
Yeah. I picked Casper. That was actually the prelim match.
And see, I didn't know anything about Casper. I just didn't. I mean, it's hard for me to pick about something if I don't know anything about him,
Fucking dog.
The mailman there.
Yeah, must be.
So yeah, I don't know anything about Casper, but apparently he did what he had to do,
He did what he had to do.
So good on him. Good on him. Anything you want to add to that match?
Oh, not really. I mean, nice to see these guys getting matches at this level.
And before we go to the main event, we got the surprise match where it was Morozov versus Mr. Jablonski. We didn't have to, we never knew about this one match. We heard about it after our show last week, so no one picked anything because we didn't know about it. But
yeah, and it was a right-handed match, of course. My biggest concern was that this match was like really early in the card, and that Camille would be tired going into his left-handed match, which was the one I was more excited about. But oh my God.
That first match, I did see the first match. Me and Tim and a couple of his buddies were driving to the venue, and you know, I'm don't do this, people. Don't fucking watch a pay-per-view while you're driving, by the way. So Tim has it on his phone, and I'm on the highway. I'm kind of doing this, and all of a sudden, I leave for a second to keep my eye on the road, and all of a sudden, the guy's going, "Oh, whoa!" And I thought someone broke their arm. I'm like, "What the fuck happened?" You know, and I guess Jablonski came like that. Morozov just went, "Nope." Just swung him open. And that was the first match.
That first match. Camille's got this weird thing he does with the right arm where he will press and he'll be like right behind it, and then he'll like move this way, so he's actually at a disadvantage, and he'll press forward. It's odd. He puts himself out of position to finish. But when he pulled that first match and Morozov just stonewalled him and pulled through him, I thought, holy shit. But then Camille actually made it interesting.
Do you think a healthy, like 110%, well-rested version of Morozov can beat Levon or give him trouble?
No. Maybe someday. He might be the guy. No, not yet, though. No, I don't think it's close right now at all.
Like I said, I mean, does Jerry win? I don't know, but I will say, and I'm going on record, and we'll talk about it as we get closer, but I'm going on record to say that Jerry will pin Levon.
If Jerry pins Levon, he'll win the match. Because if he pins Levon, it's because Levon had to. The only scenario where he pins him is if he does it to get out of that match to conserve energy.
That'd be a smart, calculated move by him.
But if Jerry does pin him, and it's because he has gassed out Levon, Jerry will win the whole thing.
And we'll see, because I think Jerry can gas him out if he stays, you know, if Levon takes him out of here, then it's kind of hard to get that back.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, man, we don't want to get into that because that's in December. So we'll have plenty of time for that. So, main event, Leonidas and Mr. Devin Larratt. I don't even know what the score was. I'm assuming it was a sweep.
It was a sweep, yeah. It was a real effort in humiliation.
Why do we have to do that?
I don't know. It kind of took the air out of the room. The crowd kind of went quiet. Commentators kind of went a little bit quiet. It was kind of disgusting, in my opinion.
And is this like towing the line when you go, hey, I mean, you know, sometimes you get into these matches and, you know, there can be a little banter back and forth, a little trash talking. Do you think that what was presented over the week, I'm trying to pick my words wisely, do you think what was presented this past Saturday was kind of going over the top?
Oh, I'm tired of walking on eggshells about this shit.
Now, I don't mean to put you in a spot where,
but
you know,
I thought it was gross. Like I watched that and I thought that this fucking guy is never going to arm wrestle again because of how he just got fucking dressed down to nothing in this match. It's like a mercy rule in other sports, and refuse to let the mercy rule come into play and just beat the fuck out of his opponent until there was nothing left of him.
Right.
Like mentally, physically. And this guy is beat to shit. There's no coming back. Like, there's not one guy in that room that he could have beat at the end of all this. And it just was a savagery of humiliation and embarrassment. And he threw a dig in at me, of course, before the match happened, but I'm not going to talk about that. But it's just
okay. So here, I'm gonna read some of these comments over here. Stack says this match was just a filler, just to have Devin on the card in desperation. I was actually surprised. Ingen, of all people, was serious about this match, given how good he is at arranging matches. And here's the thing, man. When you act like that towards your opponent during the match, like you said, undressing them, and then be like, hey, bro, thanks a lot, love you, man, or whatever the case may be, you're a good guy. At that point, when you do that in front of everybody on pay-per-view, everybody watching and stuff, if you're going to undress me like that, don't try to say sorry to me. You burnt that bridge. That's just me, though.
Yeah,
I'm talking about anybody, not just Debbie, anybody. If someone were to do that to me like that and then try to say, hey, man, it's all love and fun, I'm like, no, don't touch me, man. You didn't have to sit there and do all that.
I mean, I applaud the guy for giving it a go, like Leonidas. But in his worst nightmare, he probably thought, what's the worst thing that could happen? I get beat. Well, apparently not. Like that was way worse than just losing a match.
Well, Eton says Leonidas really shouldn't have taken the match in the first place, though. And I will say this on that. When given opportunity, because nowadays, I think in the last 3 years, when you're given an opportunity, you take it. Because you never know when that opportunity knocks again, right? So, yeah, from an experience standpoint, no, because now he's sitting at what? He's lost his last two. He lost to Brzezinski, and he lost, this one. So, yeah, he's lost his last two. Where does he go from there? I don't know. But it was like when Larry Wheels came out. Instead of doing a tournament where he can get some more table time, he was taking super matches and getting smacked around. So opportunity, right? But do you learn from that opportunity?
He's got a ton of exposure because of who he's arm wrestling.
Right. But see, now it's at a point now where now you're his highlight reel.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be somebody else's highlight reel, but I know I've been on both ends of that before. So.
Yeah. And you know what? Leonidas probably expected a loss. Gave it a go.
But the thing is, though, you didn't have to sit there. I mean, like I said, I didn't see it, but I'm just going off because I heard, from other people on social media that it was like, dude, you didn't have to do all that. Especially if the guy has little experience on the table in comparison to his opponent.
Yeah.
Like he have to humiliate his opponent, which Levon would have done the same thing. Levon got too much class, man. Levon got too much class to be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was you step on a line just a little bit, like even from what I've said so far today, probably Devin will be really upset about that. But
you can't get mad, dude. I mean, it's on fucking video. What you get? Why would he be upset? It's on fucking video. Why are you being upset? We ain't saying nothing different than anybody else is saying.
Because empathy is a trait that only is possessed by people without certain. Well, I'll stop there. Empathy is a tough thing to come by in some people.
Right.
And it's tough, man. And the call out at the end of the night after the match, I thought the call out was like,
with Saplinkov?
No, Devin called out Travis Bagent.
He also called out Saplinkov too, from what I hear.
Whatever. Well, Saplinkov would be more interesting, but left-handed. But Russ, we know he puts on a show to get views, but you can do that without going that far. Like, seriously, don't anyone tell me it's okay to do that shit to get some views. The views are already there.
He can get views changing his tire on his car.
Yeah, and the Travis thing, I didn't understand much because Travis 10 years ago, yeah.
It all depends on if Travis is even into it anymore. Because
and he called him for December. So if Travis were to say yes, he's got a couple of months to get ready. There's
Is
not
that
enough
enough?
time. Not enough time and not enough drugs in the whole world to get him ready in that short of a period of time.
Why? Does he want to be on that same car with Jerry and Levon?
December, yeah, the December card, yeah.
Well, I mean, and let's talk about Travis for a second, since we didn't went through the whole pay-per-view. And here's the thing, because I look at it like, is Travis mentally in it? Okay. So again, he was trying to build it up on the comeback. He pulled the Challenger Series. He pulled Derek Smith left-handed. Not Derek's good arm, but whatever, got the win. Okay, now he has some, momentum, right? Then his first one out was at 13, East and West 13, where he pulled a Kalanchenko, and just got a right-handed match, which is not Travis. Travis can still pull right, but that's not his preferred hand. And 3-0. Cool, fine. And then everyone's like, going, okay, well, hey, Travis is left, though. Travis is left. Okay, fine. You put Corey West in there. Corey went through him like it was nothing. So it's kind of like, where does that leave Travis at now? And if Devin calls him out, it's like going, okay, I mean, what are we doing here? I don't even know where Travis is doing now, because NFL is in motion now. We didn't did the first, 4 games, 3 games, whatever.
He's a spectator. He's not training. He's not playing. He's not coaching.
Right. He's, going to as many football games to see his son play as possible,
Sanka said later Devin said he made a mistake challenging Travis. Problem is, I watched the pay-per-view, and when the pay-per-view's over, I shut it off. I didn't see anything where Devin said he made a mistake challenging Travis.
So let's review the pay-per-view. Out of a 10, 10 being the best, where would you rate this?
Oh, man. I have a number in my head, but I hesitate to give it because I don't want to be called a hater.
Well, I mean, okay, so a hater, right? It's not hating if it's just an opinion. And, I've heard from other people, pay-per-view wasn't that great. Here, I'll say this, and then maybe it'll trigger some people to kind of chime in. Everybody in the chat, feel free to do so. When you don't really promote the event like you should, then it's kind of hard to get behind it. You know what I mean? If Levon's on there, I guarantee you they fucking pushing that shit. But there was no Levon on there. Devin, yeah, he moves the needle, but then look at his opponent. No disrespect toward, Leonidas, but when Devin pulled John and moved the needle, everybody was like, okay, let's go. When Devin and Levon, okay, yeah, let's go. So when you have those matches, depending on who the opponent is, you get the main event, and then you start from there, and then you go ahead and start adding stuff there. So, still though, East versus West, the one thing I will like about, I like a few things about them, but one of the things I like about East versus West is that when Egan sets an opponent, at some point he's going to have an interview. He's going to sit down both people, Zoom call, whatever, and he's going to have an interview and stuff with them when they're at the same time. I'm not saying that King and Table needs to do stuff like that, but they just don't promote to, like, I don't know, the week of maybe 2 weeks of. I just don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the high points for me. And Joe Nelson just pointed this out. Ozzy and Ray did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of when East versus West keeps changing out commentary teams, like as matches happen. I like to have the dedicated guys. Those two did a good job. Production-wise, it was fine. It was good. Other than the fouls with the lights, that thing bugs me all the time. Had Kardeccia not got injured, we might be talking about this a lot differently.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what's burned into your head is the last match, which really wasn't a match at all.
Well, start to finish, how long did that match take?
Oh, I don't know.
Because if I'm not mistaken, if you saw
there wasn't much screwing around.
Because for some reason, like if you look at the last East versus West and the one that was in Florida, and when they post the matches individually on YouTube, I think Devin and Chance was like 44 minutes.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of performing in there.
Think about that, 44 minutes. So, and this is what I'm going to segue to, right? Because we all talk about, hey, loose rules because the fans want to see Matt. They don't want to see a lot of this and that. Okay, I'll give you that. But by the same token, though, is it worth seeing a match 44 minutes long with best of 5?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to sit there and talk about, hey, man, we need to have running fouls. We don't need to stop starts because it's boring for the audience, the pay-per-view to watch all that kind of stuff. But yet it's I guess it's perfectly okay to have a 44-minute goddamn match on a best of 5. Really? What is it? And I'm not hating on nobody. These are the facts. Go look at it. It's like, matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up right now while we're on. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I don't even know, man. It's at that point where I get so frustrated watching a certain arm wrestler that I'm probably just not going to watch those matches anymore.
44 minutes and 9 seconds was that match.
Yeah.
Go look at it. 44 minutes and 9 seconds was the Chance Shaw Devin match. And I'm like, okay. And like I said, to a certain degree, you want to hype things up, but like, man, you don't have. I mean, was any other matches 44 minutes?
I don't think so.
And like I said, I'm not crapping on him. It's just like, man, what are we doing here? And like I said, people are going to call me hater. That's fine. I've been called worst, whatever. But I'm just like saying these are the facts, man. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So let's see here. And I'll Jonathan Brita and Aramik, 36 minutes. Paul Talbot, Vrej, 16 minutes. Chafee, Lamparelli, 17 minutes. I'm just kind of just going down, Doug Eric, Hunter Knopf, 15 minutes, 39 seconds. Corey West, Travis was 15 minutes and 23 seconds. Do you see a thing here? Mindaugas and Artem, 18 minutes and some change. Giannis and Justin, yeah. I mean, some will go longer because if it's not a sweep, yeah, they tend to go longer. Giannis and Bishop, 35 minutes and 31 seconds, But the even Michael Todd's, and Jablonski, 25 minutes, But I get it, but 44 minutes and 9 seconds. And again, I'm not trying to, hate on a one person, but it's like going, my whole argument for this particular topic I'm talking about is when we try to say, what can make it pay-per-view friendly? What can we do to make sure the audience is engaged and stuff? If you say, hey, guess what? We don't want a lot of, constant stop startages. It's bad for people viewing. I get it. But then one match is 44 minutes and 9 seconds. I'm like, okay. And then you wonder, because how often do we hear people going, man, that pay-per-view took too long?
Well, this one really didn't. But
Ryan, we've been on this show for 43 minutes and 23 seconds.
We're still less time than that match, yeah.
Yes, it's still shorter than that match over there, East versus West, just to give you guys a perspective.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's yeah, I don't know. What's going on with Michael Todd? You saw that is he like injured now or something?
I didn't get a chance to see the video, but I know he put something out there. I just haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Okay. I hope not. Because doesn't he have Gennady coming up?
He does.
Yeah, so I hope not. And here's the thing, and I don't want to sit there and say one way or the other, but when people have big matches coming up, of course, what you want to do is stay healthy, right? And you pray that you don't get hurt, going in these training things. But sometimes things happen, and Michael's one of those guys. Okay, he's going to train balls to the walls, no matter what you say, what you do. And I'm hoping it's nothing significant because I see his trajectory going up now. Ever since he got the surgery, he's okay now. This is, what do you say, Michael 2.0 or something like that, where hey, I got the surgery. I can, I can still close it just a little bit more than before. So I'm hoping that, hey, keep that going, because deep down, he's even said this, he still wants a crack at Levon to see what he can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his style may give him some issues. If that arm stays together, he can be out here and like, okay, if I can get this, I'm good, because we know a confident monster is a dangerous monster.
This is true.
So,
yeah.
Leggett says, I think Mike will injure himself during training. I hope not, because we want everybody going into these matches at 110%.
What else we got going on?
Well, let's see here. Well, what you got going on?
Well, I got my match with Dustin Houghton coming up in a couple
And
weeks.
How soon is that?
October 12th, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, heck. How you feel?
Right now, this moment, I feel like shit, but by the time I get there, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trash left-handed right now. I am so trashed, gassed out.
I feel really good.
Oh, there you go. I sat there and I'm still like stretched the fuck out, because when you pull a super match and you pull the heavyweight class and the supers all on one arm, there's some damage to be had. And there was points where, hey, I got done with a barn burner. Okay, I'm done. I'm walking, I'm shaking myself up, and I get called back because I'm also in the supers, and they called that class. I'm like, wow. So I just got steamrolled after a certain point,
Yeah.
That's part of it.
I got asked a bunch by a couple of guys if I was going to pull the tournament. And I had to point out to them that Kane does things differently. He does his super matches at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So if you're watching, like 10 o'clock at night, we'll have the super matches.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So anybody that pulls the tournament before a super match, in my opinion, is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, unless those guys are just going, like they're just going to pull a super match. But I couldn't do it, because now I got to sit through the entire tournament, and then I'm losing steam. You see what I'm saying?
I personally feel all the super matches, if you're doing a hybrid event where it's a tournament and super matches, the super matches should always be first.
It kicks things off.
Yeah.
It hypes everybody up.
And it takes your athletes that are you're considered your elite ones of the event and puts a spotlight on them, and then they can relax. Now, that also gives you the option that those super match guys might jump into your tournament.
Well, that'll juice up the tournament too. I don't mean juice, but you know what I mean. That'll fire people up, because if I see guys in a super match and there's some, big names or whatever, and I'm pulling the tournament too, I'm like, oh man, watching them will spark plug other people pulling in the tournament.
Yeah.
That's just me though. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. It'll do that, Now, one of these days, I need to calm down, because when you also pull two classes and your super match all on one arm, stepping back, that's probably not a smart thing to do. But at the same time, it's like, I made the trip down there. I might as well go ahead and get something out of it. But because we're arm wrestlers at heart, because we love to compete, let's throw it out there. And yes, I can't sit there and make excuses. I was cooked because of my but you know what though? I put my arm on the table. That's just the way it goes. Win, lose, or draw, I put my arm on the table. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So, but yes. Oh, did you hear the big news from Knuckles Up? They got a headquarters now.
I reposted that. They got a headquarters, which I'm sure I'll see when I go down there in January. They talked about a match with Hellboy.
Yeah. How you like that? From Germany. Let's go.
Yeah. And I'm sure we haven't seen even close to the end of the announcements for that upcoming card.
Yeah, because I thought they would have had it out by now, honestly.
Well, pretty close.
You know, because when you have, I mean, the card itself is awesome. And then you go, hey, there's more to come. I'm thinking, okay, well, Hellboy is probably one of them. So there you go. They probably had to make sure to get the confirmation stuff. So Jay Clean, yes, they got a building, headquarters. So I don't know if they're going to be selling like, merchandise out of that building also or what, but they purchased a building. So now they got headquarters in New Jersey. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So how you feeling about your match coming up? I know it's not until January, but still, I mean, how you feel about your opponent?
Pretty confident, man. Full steam ahead on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
no losses.
3-0 sweep, huh?
Yeah.
I want to know what they're gonna have for prizes this time. They've had brass knuckles, they've had guitars.
Brass knuckles seems to be the new standard, which I'm curious if any of the athletes have had problems getting those home.
You'd have to mail it.
The international ones, that is.
Oh, okay. I'm telling you, because they would have to mail. If I were to win like that, they have to mail it because there's no way I'm going through airport security with brass knuckles in my bag.
No. I wonder if they would ride in a checked bag.
I just have to say, hey, man, put them in the box and just send them. I don't care if it's UPS, FedEx, whatever. Just don't have me go on there. I mean, and then like, what Knuckles Up? Was it Knuckles Up 2? They had the guitars. Yeah. So they got some interesting prizes and stuff. That's pretty cool.
That was 3, I think, with the guitars.
Was it 3? Okay. Yeah. You should just put some C4 in your shoe. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they got next. They're going to start coming up with rings now. They always come up with something different. That's pretty cool. So,
well, a ring would be better than something that could be considered a weapon.
True. Wouldn't that be cool? You get a ring, and all of a sudden, you got to do. Hey, the high five. This is Knuckles Up 5. I'm sure they're going to be come up with something pretty unique.
Yeah.
Pretty unique.
I never even thought of that.
See what I'm saying? I'm not saying go gaudy with diamonds or whatever, but if you just, hey, have a ring or whatever. It could be like Cubic Zirconium, whatever, just, hey, this is your award for winning. The high five guys for Knuckles Up 5. There's got to be some kind of theme to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, buddy. I think I'm going to jump off of here because I'm dying a little bit.
Yes. Go ahead and get well, man. Get well.
I'm going to go lay down.
Hey, can we chat for like 5 minutes after the show? Sorry, everybody. You know how this goes.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next week.